My dear viewers, prepare your hearts. Today we won't speak of apocalyptic prophecies, but of a drama of wealth, power, overwhelming passion, and supernatural mysteries that defined the rise and fall of Israel's greatest kingdom. Grab your tissues, settle in, because today's chapter about King Solomon is breathtaking. If this beautiful story of revelation about the secrets of King Solomon has interested you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tell us which city you are watching us from. Imagine yourself transported to the year 957 BC. The rising sun over Jerusalem reveals a sight that would leave any visitor breathless. A colossal structure rising over Mount Moriah, its walls clad in pure gold, reflecting the morning light like a divine beacon. Solomon's Temple! It wasn't just a building, my dears. It was a declaration of power and devotion that consumed resources equivalent to billions of dollars in today's values. More than 180,000 men worked tirelessly for 7 years to erect this marvel. Imagine the scene. Endless caravans of cedars of Lebanon, the noblest wood, descending the mountains. Phoenician artisans, the most skilled in the world, sculpting every detail with superhuman precision. The sound of hammers and chisels echoed day and night, while blocks of stone as large as modern houses were moved with an ingenuity that still puzzles experts today. The dimensions? They defied imagination. 30-meter long, 10-meter wide, and 15 meters high, just in the main sanctuary. But what truly distinguished this construction was its interior. The walls? Completely covered in gold from floor to ceiling. There wasn't a single spot where the eyes could rest without encountering the gleam of the precious metal. Giant cherubim, carved from olive wood and covered in gold, guarded the Holy of Holies with their wings outstretched, creating an atmosphere of mystery and reverence. The priest's courtyard paved with rare stones, each telling a different story from distant lands. 2 monumental pillars, Jachin and Boaz, marked the entrance, their capitals decorated with bronze pomegranates and intertwined chains, symbolizing the stability and strength of Solomon's kingdom. In the heart of the temple, the Holy of Holies, a perfect cube 10 meters on each side housing the Ark of the Covenant. This space was so sacred that only the high priest could enter, and only once a year on the Day of Atonement. The smell of incense constantly filled the air, mingling with the aroma of cedar, creating a unique sensory experience that forever marked the memory of those who entered. And to keep this impressive structure running, Solomon established a revolutionary administrative system. 24 divisions of priests rotated in shifts, ensuring the sacred service never ceased. Each division with its own responsibilities, from maintaining the golden lamps to preparing the showbread, replaced every Sabbath. And this, my friends, is just the beginning. You will discover how Solomon used supernatural powers to control demons, the secret rituals of his 1,000 wives in the palace nights, and the occult practices that happened far from the people's eyes. If you believe that God still performs great works in your life, comment now, "The temple of God is within me." At dawn, long before the sun touched the golden walls of the temple, a symphony of sounds began to echo. The noise of the bronze gates opening marked the start of another day of intense activity. The Levites, divided into specific groups, began their tasks with almost military precision. The first order of the day, cleaning, a ritual as sacred as the offerings themselves. Imagine hundreds of servants moving in perfect synchrony, some carrying water in golden jars, others sweeping the courtyards with specially dedicated brooms. The marble floor was washed so carefully, they said you could see your own reflection in it. The temple musicians, known for their exceptional skill, occupied specific positions in the courtyards. Their harps, cymbals, and trumpets created a celestial atmosphere, heard even outside Jerusalem's walls. Each piece of music carefully chosen, following the instructions left by King David himself. In the outer courts, authorized merchants sold animals for sacrifice. But it wasn't an ordinary market. Each animal underwent a rigorous inspection by the priests, perfect, worthy of being offered to God. Prices were controlled, ensuring even the poorest could participate. A complex system of aqueducts, a marvel of ancient engineering, guaranteed a constant water supply, essential for cleaning and purification rituals. The Bronze Sea, a huge reservoir supported by 12 bronze oxen, held enough water for all daily needs. The priests followed a meticulous purification ritual before starting their duties. They dressed in specific linen garments, kept in special chambers. each piece with symbolic meaning, put on in a specific order accompanied by prayers. Behind the scenes of the temple, a veritable city operated. Bakers prepared the showbread in special ovens, following a sacred recipe. Perfumers mixed the sacred incense, its formula a secret guarded as zealously as the temple treasures. If this message touched your heart, leave your like now. As an act of faith, may God pour blessings upon your life. Still in this video, you will find out how he controlled supernatural beings with his magic ring, and the seduction rituals that transformed the palace into a place of forbidden pleasures. The harem that changed history. What you are about to discover about the largest harem in ancient history will reveal secrets few have dared to tell. A story of power, seduction, and consequences that echo to this day. Imagine a palace so vast it could house 1,000 women, each with her own chambers, servants, and rituals. Solomon's harem wasn't just a place of pleasure. It was a center of political power, where the fate of nations was decided. 700 royal wives and 300 concubines, each representing a strategic alliance with distant kingdoms. The pharaoh's daughter held the most prestigious place. She inhabited a palace built especially for her, decorated with hieroglyphs, furnished with the finest Egyptian pieces. Her retinue included hundreds of servants, musicians, and dancers from the Nile. Her garments, linen so fine they said it was transparent as water. The princesses of Moab brought knowledge of exotic perfumes. The Sidonian women were famous for their skills in weaving royal purple. Each cultural group maintained its own traditions, creating a multicultural environment unique in the ancient world. The harem was organized like a miniature city. Complex hierarchy. Royal wives lived in luxurious pavilions on the upper floors, overlooking fragrant gardens. Concubines occupied the lower floors, still luxurious but less grand. Each woman had her own royal seal. She could conduct business, maintain correspondence with her homeland. Special scribes kept meticulous records of each wife and concubine. Origin, dowries, gifts, and most importantly, any child born of the union. The harem's administration required an army of officials, stewards, guards, cooks, musicians, doctors, midwives. Life in the harem followed strict rules. Special messengers respected elderly women, coordinated communication. No wife could visit another without prior authorization, a measure to prevent intrigue and conspiracies. What comes next reveals the most intimate mysteries of Solomon's palace, where each night was a unique celebration of love and beauty. The preparation rituals for a night with the king began at dawn. The chosen one was announced discreetly, an elaborate process that lasted the entire day. First, she was taken to the House of Purifications. There she bathed in 7 different pools, each scented with specific oils: myrrh, aloes, cassia, cinnamon. Her 7 personal maids attended to every detail. Hair washed with aromatic oils, combed with ivory combs encrusted with precious stones. Skin treated with a secret mixture of honey, goat's milk, and essential oils, a formula passed down through generations. Nails painted with henna, intricate designs telling love stories in ancient symbols. The garments for the night, chosen with extreme care, fabrics so fine they seemed woven by spiders, dyed with rare colors, jewels selected not just for beauty, but for symbolic meaning and seductive power. The royal chamber, prepared with equal attention. Golden censers constantly burned special fragrance mixtures, creating an intoxicating atmosphere. Flower petals scattered on silk sheets, oil lamps strategically placed for seductive lighting. Musicians specializing in love songs positioned themselves in adjacent chambers, playing soft melodies inspired by the Song of Songs itself. The notes flowed like honey. The chosen one was then instructed in the arts of love by experienced elders, secrets passed down through generations. Every gesture, every word, every movement was carefully rehearsed to create a unique and unforgettable experience. If this message touched your heart, show your faith by commenting, "God's love is greater." Hold on, because what comes next will shock you. You will discover how Solomon used supernatural powers to control demons, the secret rituals of his 1,000 wives in the palace nights, and the occult practices that happened far from the eyes of the people. In the heart of Jerusalem, the Song of Songs echoed through the palace corridors, a love poem so powerful it became part of the Holy Scriptures. In it, Solomon revealed a vision of love that blended the physical and the spiritual, where human passion was celebrated as a reflection of divine love. The women of the harem came from diverse cultures, each bringing her own traditions of seduction. The Egyptians were masters of belly dancing, moving like serpents. The Phoenicians knew perfumery secrets that could bewitch the senses. The Moabites were famous for love songs that melted the heart. The palace housed secret gardens, where fountains murmured among pomegranate trees and vines. There women learned from each other, sharing ancestral knowledge of herbs, dances, and the art of seductive conversation. Each culture contributed its own understanding of pleasure and beauty. Special musical instruments were reserved only for love songs. Delicate harps with silk strings, drums that mimicked heartbeats, flutes that sounded like passionate sighs. Music was considered a form of magic that could open the gates of the heart. Never before in history had a court seen such competition for the love of one man. What you will discover now about the disputes in Solomon's harem reveals a power game that shaped the destiny of a kingdom. In the immense harem, each woman developed her own strategies to capture the king's attention. Some stood out for their intelligence, participating in discussions on governance. Others cultivated artistic talents, poetry, exclusive perfumes, hypnotizing dances. The competition was subtle but intense. Alliances formed between women of different origins, creating networks of influence. An astute concubine could elevate her status by forming strategic connections. Servants were key pieces in this royal chess game. They carried secret messages, observed movements, reported every small event. A whisper at the right moment could change a favorite's destiny. Gifts were constantly exchanged, each carrying hidden meanings. A cup of wine, a poem, a mysterious jewel, all part of a secret language of power and seduction. The wisest women understood true power came from knowledge. They studied the king's preferences, his concerns, his moods. Some became informal counselors, influencing political decisions through intimate conversations. To receive victory and change your life today, comment now, Amen, I deserve divine victory. What you are about to discover about Solomon's children will reveal how the greatest kingdom of Israel began its decline. A story of love, power, and consequences that changed the course of history. Surprisingly, despite his 1,000 women, biblical records mention only one son of Solomon, Rehoboam. But historians believe dozens of other princes and princesses were born in the royal harem. Each birth was a political event, strengthening alliances. Each royal child had their own world. Tutors from distant lands taught languages, philosophy, art. Mothers competed for the best education. Hebrew teachers ensured Israel's traditions, while foreign masters brought wisdom from other cultures. Rehoboam, son of the Ammonite Naamah, grew up in an environment of extremes, traditional Israelite education, and the exotic cultures of his harem aunts. This duality would tragically shape his future reign. Royal children rarely saw their father. Solomon busy delegated child-rearing. Each mother tried to mold her child in her own image, creating factions within the palace. Gradually, Solomon's palace transformed into a melting pot of religions. Each foreign wife brought not just her beauty, but also her gods. Pharaoh's daughter worshipped Isis and Osiris. The Sidonians burned incense to Ashtoreth. The Moabites celebrated rituals to Chemosh. Initially, Solomon allowed these cults as a diplomatic concession, but gradually, seduced by the love of his wives and intellectual curiosity, he began to participate in these rituals. He built altars to foreign gods on the hills around Jerusalem, each more elaborate than the last. The impact? Devastating. The people, seeing their king worship other gods, began to question their own faith. Priests and prophets warned of divine wrath, but their voices were drowned out by pagan drums and laughter from the harem. In the heart of the kingdom, a spiritual battle raged. While the temple of YHWH stood majestic, small shrines to foreign gods sprouted like weeds in the palace gardens. The scent of sacred incense now mingled with the exotic fragrances of pagan rituals. Keeping 1,000 women wasn't just a matter of the heart. It was an immense financial burden. Each royal wife demanded a standard of living worthy of her position. Servants, jewels, clothes, exotic foods. The royal treasury, once overflowing, began to show signs of depletion. The tax system had to be increased. The people once proud began to murmur about rising taxes. Forced labor was implemented, generating resentment among the tribes. In the harem, intrigues intensified as the king aged. Younger wives competed, older ones fought to maintain influence. Rumors of conspiracies circulated through the golden corridors. If you trust that God can restore any situation, comment, "Restore, Lord." Ancient texts speak of the Ring of Solomon, a magical artifact engraved with the sacred name of God. With this ring, they said he could command spirits and demons, using them to build the temple and his palace. Every giant stone, every massive cedar beam, supposedly moved by supernatural forces under his command. The demons themselves, according to these legends, were forced to serve in Solomon's court. Some acted as messengers, crossing vast distances in seconds. Others revealed secrets of nature, teaching about plants and minerals. The Testament of Solomon, an ancient text, describes how he interrogated demons, learning their names, powers, and weaknesses. This knowledge was supposedly recorded in mystical books, sought by mages through the centuries. But even with all this supernatural power, Solomon remained humble before God. He understood his dominion came only from the Most High, and used this knowledge to glorify the Creator. If you believe in the supernatural power of God, comment, "God's power is greater." What a story, my friends! From divine glory to forbidden pleasures, from celestial wisdom to the control of demons, Solomon's life is a mirror for ours. Does power corrupt? Can faith coexist with temptation? Leave your like now and declare, "My faith is firm in God." May this action be a symbol of your trust in Him. If this journey through the secrets of King Solomon fascinated you, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters. Leave your like if you believe true wisdom comes from God. And comment, what was Solomon's biggest mistake? Was it the harem or the foreign gods? Your opinion is golden. Click now on the video appearing on the screen to discover the mysteries behind the walls of ancient Jericho.